When I was young, something happened to me.
Stop saying that.
Who are you talking to?
Gabriel.
Is he your imaginary friend?
He's back.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
With these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Now we got drinks? Oh, stay free.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
All right. Halloween is upon us. Bruh.
Yeah, so here we are.
Here we are.
Welcome to Moviesucktastic, the day before the beginning of Octoberween, and we've already started with the horror films because we'll be reviewing Malignant.
Can I say your
a
video?
Very, polarizing horror film.
Your video is pretty terrible. Sorry.
My video?
Yeah. I hate to be a downer to start the show,
I
but
don't care. I don't care.
Okay. But everyone that loves you cares. I care. I care.
I already unplugged the camera and plugged it back in before I started, so
It's okay.
it's working better on my. I don't know.
It's okay. We will move on.
Deal with.
We will, yeah.
Yeah, so we're I wanted to review Malignant because I wanted to watch Malignant because I didn't dive into any discussions because I avoid that like the plague these days when it comes to films.
Right.
But I saw headlines and comments back and forth that apparently showed that people were either loved it or hated it.
Yeah,
And
there was this huge.
That,
There was this huge parallel. I don't understand. I mean, you get that sometimes. You get where people love it or people hate it, and there's usually no in between. And you're right. This was one of those films. I don't understand why. Well, I don't want to say I don't understand why people hated it. I know why some people hated it, and they're wrong. They're like, they're like what I like. They're like they are what I like to call wrong.
I wouldn't say they're wrong as much as I would say is I can see why some people hate it, but I feel like they're harping too much on too little.
Yeah, I mean,
when you look at the genre as a whole, we're talking horror. I mean, I know there was a lot of hype behind this film because it's James Wan and everything else, and I think some of it lived up to that hype. But I just feel like it's one of those things where everybody was expecting something extraordinary, and people get bored quickly around here these days. I feel like everybody's impatient for like the next perfect thing.
Well, here's the problem. Attention spans statistically are way down. Because when you're given things where you're getting instant gratification, no matter where it comes from,
It's a point-and-click world, yeah.
People do not have the patience anymore. And what they honestly need to do is they need to shut all of that shit off and just go back to a simpler time when it comes to things like movies and music and anything of that nature, because you don't always get instant gratification.
I personally would also say, and I know we're going more into like social political theory here, but I personally think part of it is that everybody as a whole is easier to anger these days, myself included.
Yeah, well,
I had my troubles. Everything is going fucking insane, and even the people that are making it insane, like feel like they're the ones in trouble. So even they're losing it. So everybody's just fucking on the edge, I feel like, and I've actually been battling that weight lately. So I just feel like a lot of people are just ready to. All right, I like this film. That's it. Everybody needs something to put all this anger and energy into, and they just always pick films for the stupidest reasons.
Yeah, no, you're right, and
I know
there was a lot. You're right. There was a lot of hype going into this film, and I think you are right. I think it did hit on a lot of that hype. I'm just right off the bat, I'm going to just say I actually thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I mean, it's not a perfect horror film by any means, but it is insanely entertaining.
I watched it alone, and I wanted to get Holly to watch it with me before we did the show so I could report her reactions, because I don't know if she's going to like this film or hate it.
You watched it before?
Godzilla.
Well, hold on. You watched it before we watched it together?
No, that's what I meant.
Because you said you watched it alone. Okay.
They don't know. They don't care.
Well, we could tell them that. Plex has an amazing feature called Watch Together.
Yeah, we watched it online together, and after we watched it, I wanted to get Holly to watch it to get her reactions, because ever since King Kong versus Godzilla, she's a little unpredictable.
Yeah, that was even me. I'm like, well, what?
I was like, hey, they're showing them beat each other up. That's what I signed up for. What's the first? She's like, oh, this is horrible.
Whoa.
That's still very, very unusual. Yeah. So I'm waiting. This one will either put her over the edge or she'll love it.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear her reaction.
Yeah, but let's explain why. So the film opens up, kind of a seven feel to the opening credits, like a little 9-inch,
Yeah, no, it's very artistic. Well, the film opens up first straight to the movie, and then cuts away from there into the 7 style opening. Right.
But so the opening of the film really gave me flashbacks to Patrick, and I don't know why.
Bum bum.
But you've got. I swear, when it comes to female actresses, I have like a semi face blindness, because you can tell. I kept asking you throughout the film, which woman is this? Because they all are brunettes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who's this one? Where was that? We saw her there. Where? I have a clue. They all look the same. It's an illness, but that kept throwing me off in the film, because they kept cutting around too, which works to the film's benefit as a whole. But anyway, yeah. So it opens up at the hospital, and there's something in a room. It kills some people. They subdue it, and then they cut out the cancer.
She says,
Very
I think it's time to cut out the cancer. And then from that it goes into the 7 style credits, which involves, like, you see like a surgery that's happening of some kind, and it's almost like it like an alien? Is it something supernatural? Is it both? Is it, like, you don't know what it is. You just know that the opening's kind of cool.
Yeah. So after that, we meet this nurse.
Yeah.
I think she's working as a nurse. I'm a little foggy on that. It's not really impertinent to the story. But anyway, basically, there's this meek, pregnant nurse with an abusive boyfriend who immediately smashes her head up against the wall.
Yeah,
and sleeps on the couch.
Yeah, she was ready to go into work, and he's watching TV, and he tells her that don't go in, just relax. And then he tells her, how many babies do I have to see die inside of you? And it's like, oh shit.
Wow.
like right to the point. And then, then she like tries to leave, and he grabs her and he smashes her head into the plaster. It's an old house. I've owned an old house.
Now,
it's plaster. It's basically cement. Because if it was sheetrock, her head wouldn't have been that bad.
Now, before we go any further,
Yes.
I want to discuss things as they come up. Because we're going to go linearly. So we don't normally do this, but I want to give a huge spoiler alert because we are going to completely ruin this film for you if you have not seen it.
Okay.
So I just want to put it out now. Right.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, the first thing I find interesting is that the film foreshadows the fact that Madison.
Ooh.
Female character name.
I have it in front of me. I'll tell you right now.
I think it's Madison.
Madison.
Emily
yes.
is the
Emily,
real name.
Yes. Madison.
Thank you.
Madison. And
You nailed it.
her sister's name was Sydney.
Right. So what I find interesting is they already foreshadow the fact that Madison is the killer, because if you it's really, I only really noticed it because I was freeze framing to get some screenshots for the slides for tonight's show, is that when the boyfriend's attacked, his head is slammed against the wall.
Oh, yeah. Because previously, like 2 minutes earlier.
Clue.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a quick flash. Well, the first time I thought he was stabbed, and then they show afterwards. I mean, it was that quick. But you go back and look at it, it's really the hand pushing the head into the wall. That's what happens with the broken neck. Beautiful, beautiful shots. You can tell this guy's part of the Saw series. He really knows how to shoot violence, so it looks beautiful.
And real quick, when Scott and I were watching this movie, what's that?
I thought I messed up James Wan or something like that.
Oh, no. I was going to say, you talked about it being shot beautifully. Real quick, before we continue, there is so much, homage. There is so much inspiration that he has obviously had watching horror films his whole life. From Argento to Sam Raimi to anything, Giallo, let's say Giallo. Just the music alone and some of the overhead shots and the pan shots. I mean, it's just like Maniac Cop, and it's just all over the place with just all the cool stuff that because he's our age, like grew up watching,
This is a film that definitely makes you recall other films, and I think some people are leaning on that, saying that it's like, I haven't actually heard any major arguments of this nature, but I can only assume that some people are falling back on that, saying, "Oh, this is not even original; it's rip off of this, that, and that." So no, it's inspired by and informed by, and it doesn't hide that fact too. That's the important part.
I loved the fact that it was taking little, like Tarantino's been doing it for years, just taking bits and pieces of what he's grown up with, what he finds cool, and it works.
And he's gotten shit for it.
And he has gotten shit for it. But you know what? I'm not buying into the bullshit.
All right.
So
her boyfriend's killed.
Mm-hmm.
Shock of shocks.
Actually, I think it's her husband. I think they are married.
I'm sorry, husband. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know. He's only in the film for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an abusive relationship, or used to be. He's clean now, but he has those moments of anger where he smashes women's heads against the wall, like a piece of garbage that he is.
So when she's in the home alone, she starts having these visions.
Yes.
Of murders that are taking place.
Mm-hmm. And when she starts seeing these visions, she's not teleported, but her line of sight, her POV changes, and you see it on screen.
Very similar to the Dead Zone.
Right, exactly. That's
I would use.
You know what?
I'm sure there are a dozen of others.
The second you said it, I'm like, shit. You're right. That's another movie. 1983, I believe.
I'm filing on all cylinders, baby. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's do it. So yeah, it's just the room changes, and now she's transported into the room of where the person that's going to be and then murdered. Because then you start because the movie changes a bunch of times. It's like, is this an alien film? Is this a ghost movie? Is this a psychic movie? Because she can it's like, can she see, psychically what's happening? It's like the movie changes all around, and then you get to the climax, and then you realize it's something else entirely. Which, Castle Freak, that's another film. Absolutely. Just because of the monster
I've never
views.
seen Castle Freak.
I've seen most of it. It was like one of those Cinemax late night, and just the way the Castle Freak is in the castle running around, it's all kind of like all messed up, scarred, face is all screwed up. I get the feeling that there was a little homage to Castle Freak by the way the monster, or whatever you want to call it in this film, looks and acts like. Especially just them running around like tall buildings and whatnot. So
now, also, a lot of these scenes involve mirrors. There's a lot of mirror activity going on in the film because duality is a big part of the film. Obviously, for those of us who already know how it ends. So a lot of scenes with mirrors or her and her shadow are just a lot of double imagery going on.
Right.
Not as
well. You hold on real quick. You want to talk about ruining the film? It's ruined in the slides. It's absolutely.
Oh no, that's why I said.
Yeah.
That's why I said I've ruined everything in the slides. You can't. Some of the best stuff is the spoiler stuff.
This is true. This is absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I said right up front. If you're dumb enough to watch something that's going to review of something you haven't seen, I made sure we said something beforehand.
It's on the jail scene with all the women.
Oh,
it's so good.
We'll get there quickly. Don't worry. So what I wanted to point out is that first scene where the doctor is killed while she's watching, he grabs that award.
Oh, right.
Which you can actually see in the background in the opening scene while she's filming her video diary.
Okay.
It's on the desk behind her. So he takes that, and it's this long. They have a nice Dario Argento. I'm glad you mentioned that. Shot of like the on its side with the blade, and then she's crawling past it. It's that's, and immediately that's going into somebody real quick. You know it. And then at the last minute, they cut to the killing, and he's beating the fuck out of her head with the base of it.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm like, dude, it's a fucking dagger. So I'm like, this is fucking stupid. But then later on, you realize you got to do that because otherwise you're going to have too much slashing in this film. So let's break it up a little bit.
Let's give it a little something blunt, little something extra.
Right. And during that first murder, we don't really get a lot of it, but you do notice that the killer is moving a bit awkwardly, but you're not really getting the full effect yet.
You know what?
Right?
That is Zoe Bell. That is the New Zealand stunt woman.
That is Zoe Bell?
Yes.
It is. Holy shit.
I'm like, she looks just like the I couldn't remember her name, and you're like, no. And I'm like, well, she doesn't look as pretty as she normally does.
All right.
But that is fucking Zoe Bell.
All right, we got to stop now because I want to wait until we get to that part of the film.
Okay.
Because my God, we got to talk about that. So she witnesses that murder, and then not much happens before the next murder, right? They don't tell the cops until after the second murder. Right, because that's when
the reveal of her possibly being psychic doesn't come up until the second one, because then it happens a second time. She's like, fuck, I got to tell somebody.
That's when they go to the police, who we meet after the first murder, and it's one of those introductions where we're going to be seeing these guys all through the film. It's like the Mulder-looking male cop, and then you got the I don't know what actress to compare it to, like the black dread poofy hair.
Are you thinking like Pam Grier or something?
Yeah, Pam Grier, perfect example.
Okay.
And then there's the ghoulish but nerdy assistant who's has a huge crush on the lead act. It's like okay, this is all just humor for the background. I get it. We're all in. We know what we're playing here. Let's just have fun,
Let's just do it.
Yeah. So after the second murder, where he starts using the blade and slashes it, but he's like just stabs this guy's face. He fucks this guy's face to get death with a dagger, with the thing, and she notices that Silver Cup's in the background, So, which Silver Cup is a movie studio.
Oh, the Silver Cup. I can see it, but I don't know. I can't.
You might remember that Silver Cup is also the top of the building where the Highlander fight takes place.
I don't remember.
So
that.
yes, Silver Cup. Yes.
Silver Cup.
So it's not even a reference to Highlander. It's just Silver Cup. It's a film thing. Anyway, so after that they go to the cops, and the cops are like, "You're not fucking psychic. Fuck off with this shit."
Yeah, she's saying it from the beginning, and then the tour guide. Meanwhile, the tour guide is kidnapped and not killed. Well, you don't know yet, and then it pans to a shot of her tied up in a large structure of some kind, and I called it immediately. I'm like, that's Madison's attic. I'm like, whether or not you think she's doing it or not, I'm like, that's her fucking attic. There's no way, because the fan, the exhaust fan, to let out all the heat in the attic is gigantic, and it's a super tall house, and I'm like, that's her fucking attic. I called that immediately.
I knew it was an attic, but I was like, that's such a huge fan. It can't be her house. But I didn't really pay it much mind because I knew they'd reveal it, so I was okay with it. Back up just a second.
Yes.
So the tour guide for Underground Seattle, which is actually a real thing. And by the way, since we also have a chase scene later that takes place in the Underground Seattle, which is the whole idea that Seattle built this new city on top of the old one, and it's just underneath, buried. And how is that a reference to Madison and her problem? You see?
Oh, yes.
The buried, buried beneath the surface, but it's still there.
Put it deep down and forget it ever happened.
There's a lot of clues and metaphors heading towards the conclusion. I just wanted to point that out. But
especially because of the reveal of the tour guide. So
right. So the tour guide, but we never. So the tour guide is kidnapped, and we have no idea why. They're keeping it secret, and you immediately know they're going to yank her chain on that one. So we'll just stand by. Then the third murder happens. I want to say.
Yeah, one of the other doctors or
the bathtub guy.
That's another doctor.
Yeah. I'm saying the bathtub guy. Yeah.
There's 4 involved altogether as far as doctors, I think.
Yeah. I think
1,
so
2. There's at least 3. There's at least 3 for a fact.
Right.
I want to say there's a fourth.
The third,
but I don't think so. Now that I think about it, I don't think there's a fourth. I think it's 3 doctors.
So the third killing is the bathtub doctor.
No, I believe that's the second killing, isn't it?
No, it's the third killing. The second one was Silver Cup. We just passed that. Keep with me, bro.
Keep up.
Okay. No, we're on the third killing, and at this point, this is the third killing that the cop actually figures out, and that there's somebody's killing off these doctors through his research. So he goes there and he actually is at the murder, and he's attacked by the killer. And again, there's more. I one of the screenshots because I love it.
The shot of the mirror.
They show him. Yeah, the shot in the mirror with the pans, and it shows the kill in the mirror, like up in the corner of that room. Beautiful shot.
Yeah.
So he has a fight with it, and you notice very clearly in this scene that the person moves very bizarrely.
Yeah, almost. Again, I was getting like Castle Freak out of the movement, but it was like you get the sense that it's limbs.
I said to you, is he running backwards?
Yeah, and I said at the time, I'm like, I maybe it, but of course the opening of the film shows this deformed, like kind of weirdly shaped body, and you get the general idea of it's a possibility that grew up.
Yeah. I'm playing with the idea at this point.
Yeah, and that's why it's moving so weirdly.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm playing with the idea. Yeah, maybe it's her. I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. So then the next day, the cops go to her and say, hey, listen, we're having all this trouble here. Let's figure things out. And they bring in a psychic as well to do some regression. And that's when we find out that she has an imaginary friend.
An imaginary friend. named Gabriel.
Gabriel, correct.
Which at that point I was like, that's an archangel named Gabriel, I believe. I'm pretty sure that I'm right with that. That there was an archangel named Gabriel.
Yes, Gabriel. Yes, that's the main one. I'm pretty sure.
But what was...
I'm a heathen. I'm a heathen, so as best of my knowledge, that's the main angel.
And my thing is, every archangel had its like a job, you know. So let's see, what's Gabriel's?
Well, I don't care about that. So I'm gonna keep
no. I'm just saying it's like,
No, I was just gonna keep talking while you looked it up, so there's not silence while you look for it. That's all
right.
I'm saying. So when they reveal these wasn't it hypnosis? I was pretty sure it was hypnosis, right? Because she came out of it.
She did.
Yeah, that was
Violently.
hypnosis.
Violently.
Anyway, what?
She came out of it violently. They had to stop it like immediately because something was going on.
So now we're thinking it's all psychological, and maybe she's got a split personality. There's something, definitely hinting at that. Whenever you have it's either that or demons. Whenever you have a imaginary friend who starts throwing shit across the room. That's the only two options: split personality or demon. That's it. So, but at the end of this whole conversation, a woman crashes through the ceiling of the living room.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's the chick that was tied up in the attic. She cuts herself free, falls down. It is her house.
And I was like, I knew it.
As it should be. Yeah, that was definitely all right. Now we know where this is going. 100%. We know where this is going. The only question is, how far are we going with the split personality thing?
Right.
We don't know that yet. They've been hinting at it, but nothing real. So, but then it all comes to a head because Madison's sister,
well, it says here, Gabriel the archangel Gabriel announced to the Virgin Mary that she had been chosen to bear the Son of God.
Well,
which is right there. I mean, that's a metaphor in itself.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
You know, because he's living inside of her. So you have this bearing the Son of God aspect right there, that her and him are connected completely, and that he is God because he's in control.
So,
yes.
The sister, Sydney,
mm-hmm.
she goes to the hospital where the opening scene took place, this huge hospital on top of a mountain cliff. And I saw a few people complain about this, and I got to admit, we both had the same reaction. When she parks that car right on the edge of that cliff, whoa. Who the fuck's parking their car like that?
Nobody, but it looked cool. Like the shot with the moon in the background and the angle of everything. It looked cool, but it's less practical than someone finding a spot in front of the building they need to in a major metropolitan city.
Thank you. And people harp on this. It's like, oh, it's so bad. It's funny when that happens. Like, yeah, it's kind of snicker amusing, but it's for the fucking setup. This whole dramatic, the cliff. This is a drop off where she's going. There's, this is really the cliff of the story.
Right.
I mean, go along with it. Stop being such a dick. Yeah, I chuckled, but it's still a great shot.
Yeah, we both were like, as much as you can look at each other as if you were sitting next to each other, like, what the fuck? Why is she parking here? And then we moved on.
If Holly and I were in that car and I was driving and I parked that close to the cliff, she would beat me to death before she dragged my body into the back seat and backed up the car. So, yeah, I definitely. But again, we're not dealing with this is a horror film. And I always find it funny when people. I mean, we had a mutual friend who pissed and moaned about Independence Day. I always bring that up because his big complaint was like, oh yeah, so Will Smith flies out and he finds his wife in the middle of this wreckage, and I'm like, all right, hold on. So you're okay with the alien invasion, but this is where you start pulling hairs. What the fuck is your problem? Get some priorities going.
I remember that.
So I think this is one of those things that's brought up a lot for people that are trashing the film, and I think it's kind of deserved, but not really.
Right.
Yeah. So while she's in the hospital, she finds these videotapes, which explains the opening. I thought it was on the second viewing. I was like, why is the opening like a videotape again? Because it's not really. But then it's because the big reveals take place in videotapes interviews from the 80s.
92.
92. Yeah, I'm still fucking
the
old now.
times.
Yeah. I'm still like, that's last week. What are you talking about?
92 wasn't that long ago.
I'm saying in my mind, it's like I have no real concept of time.
Right.
We've discussed this.
Yes.
But,
yes.
So while she's doing that, the cops are tracking down leads, and Officer Lee, that's the Mulder-looking guy, he I forget how he bumps into the killer again.
He gets a lead. Because she's talking about the one doctor, like she has like a vision or something, like a dream that he was going to die.
Yeah.
And then she gives him the lead and he goes there.
Right.
And of course, Gabriel is already there, has already killed the doctor.
And that's when that whole chase sequence under Seattle happens again.
Yes.
I love it when they show these things with like horse and buggies there. It's like, dude, you know how much that would go for on like the Antique Roadshow? Why is this stuff the shit is sitting down here?
It's just because the tour guide was like, yeah, and a lot of this stuff is still down here.
Yeah.
It's like,
why?
Yeah, why?
What the fuck? And it's all like dirty and covered in cobwebs and stuff. So if you're gonna keep the old shit, make it a museum. What is Seattle doing? They're too busy with their fucking coffee and grunge bands or whatever.
Grunge.
I'm just trying to show how old I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as expected, Madison ends up in prison, and so all this discovery is happening while she's in prison, and then we get the big climax where they're watching the videotapes. Sydney's watching the videotapes with her mother because Madison's adopted. We didn't mention that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was about as big of a reveal by us as it was in the movie.
Oh, they reveal it early in the film too. Yeah,
they
so
do, and then when they bring it up to the mom, what's interesting about when it's brought up to the mom wasn't like, "Oh my God, how did you know?" or "Why did you told her?" or it's just like, "Yeah," it was very nonchalant.
Yeah, well, I mean, as it should be. But so as they were watching the videotapes, it's revealed that Madison was actually Emily, and she was born with a conjoined twin on her back. So it's got the face and the rib cage and little arms. And it's psychic. It has psychic abilities too.
Yeah. So
Go figure.
In the beginning,
not psychic video, but they have psychic. I don't know if there's a specific term for that type of telekinesis, but it has a telekinesis where Gabriel can affect electricity and radio waves and things of that nature.
Right. Oh, and you're right. And that's how Gabriel talks. That's the only way you can hear his voice is that way.
And now that we know who Gabriel is, you flash back to the beginning during that fight in the hospital, and there's a scene where like the voice comes through the radio, and then he's like, "My God, he's communicating. He's thinking. He's transmitting his thoughts. he's using the radio signals just in case we missed it." That's what was happening.
Well, yeah, because the orderly he comes running in. He's escaped again.
Yeah.
And then they do the shot where she says, she's going to cut the cancer out. And all you can see is this alien like being / body just moving around. And then it cuts to the credits. So you think that's just a standalone. You don't know yet that is a conjoined twin.
I want to also point out at this exact moment, speaking of the opening sequence, the more I watch this film, second time now, the opening sequence, I think, is almost a parody. In the sense, if you like how it's over top it is, and she's like, "All right, let's cut this cancer out." When we see the videotape later of the operation, she's like calm, like, "All right, let's cut this out." And I almost it's like that didn't happen. And I almost have a feeling it's in a subtle way. I feel like it's James Wan taking the pre-credit sequence and say, "All right, this is how this film would have been in the '80s."
Or early 90s, sure. Like Reanimator,
90s,
Reanimator style, sure.
This is
which is
kind of
another
schlocky attempt.
homage, Reanimator.
He showed. I don't think it's an homage. I think it's a statement at the beginning. I think it's a statement of James Wan saying, "Look, here's the kind of schlocky stuff we would have done 20 years ago. You're going to be so happy that you're not watching this anymore." You know what I mean? It's like it's all very cliche. It's you know what's happening and everything, and it's like the acting is not, again, the acting is over the top. That last line, "Let's cut this cancer out." It's like, dude, come on, what are you, Sigourney Weaver? And I think he did that on purpose to prepare. So the contrast of the film is like, oh, this is very subdued and serious, and people are dying. What the fuck? There's no other way to explain it. I can't think. Give me a different explanation that explains why the opening's like that. I'll take it. But that's my explanation.
Yeah, no, I want to agree with you. I think the beginning was over the top for that very reason. What's funny, you said 20 years ago. Saw is almost 20 years old at this point. So
that's why I said that. Yeah.
Well, no, it's like this is what we would have been making 20 years ago. And I think 30 is probably more accurate. Come on.
Fine.
Like, what was that one film? It was around 30.
Remember when I said I have no concept of time?
I know. Dr.
All
Giggles.
Right,
remember Dr. Giggles?
Yeah, I remember Dr. Giggles.
Yeah, so that was what's-his-face from Darkman.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, it's like Dr. Giggles is the shit that they was being made around 30 years ago. Stuff like that.
That's my point.
It's a good point. Now that we got the date right.
All right, so that leads us to
the jail scene.
The jail scene. Oh man, there's so many things I love about this jail scene. First of all, it's like your typical fucking Hollywood jail cell with nothing but badass prostitutes and thugs.
Yeah. And that's on purpose. It's absolutely on purpose.
Oh yeah. So like in any Hollywood prison, jail cell, not prison, jail cell, a holding tank even.
Yeah, these are the dregs that have been brought in throughout the evening.
She's suspected of a triple murder, and she's in like general population. I guess I don't know how prisons work or jails work. Anyway,
that's how it works in Hollywood.
Yeah, so immediately they all these tough chicks, including Zoe Bell. A scorpion. She has a name, I guess, because of the tattoo on her neck.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, Zoe Bell stole this fucking movie. I've seen memes all over the place just with her screaming, "What the fuck?" Just, with the subtitles. That's it. Immediately, Zoe Bell has never been more popular than she is right now because of that one shot.
Yeah. She's going to live on forever as a meme.
Yeah, but Zoe Bell and a bunch of other ones start curb stomping her for no reason whatsoever. And then she goes into a seizure, and Gabriel takes over. And
Big
Gabriel
time.
just fucking destroys everybody. And we actually see the transformation, so we understand that she pulls open the back of her head, and Gabriel's face pops out. He looks a little bit like Jason after the end of
2.
Jason Takes Manhattan. No, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh, number 8. Jason 8.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting too? So you're right. She parts her hair, and then the back of her skull opens up.
Scalp.
So
hair, like no, her scalp.
She parts. Okay.
Scalpel.
So yeah. So I said she parts her hair and opens up the base of her skull.
I'm just saying, it's scalp.
Okay, fine. I'm not going to argue with you over this.
No, I'm just right.
Sure. Anyway, throughout the film, she keeps touching the back of her head, and it's still bleeding. And then you finally realize later, it's because she keeps opening the back of her skull.
Right.
And because Gabriel is coming out to do all of these terrible things, and then it closes back up. But of course, with any open wound, it's still going to bleed a bit, because throughout the film, because Scott and I were watching, I'm like, what the fuck is going on with her head? It just keeps bleeding.
Yeah.
So, and then you find out,
obvious...
because of the jail scene, you find out why that keeps happening.
Yeah, the film doesn't like spoil it for you or like give you so much that you know exactly what's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
but it drops enough crumbs that you get the gist and you're ready for the big reveal. And the big reveal does not disappoint.
No, definitely
because Gabriel, for just being like a part of her brain, he fucking is a martial arts expert.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
If he Matrix styles the shit out of them, so it's like if
He
you
tears
can
apart.
if you can think it, you could do it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And so he just tears apart that fucking every single person. And I love the fact that Zoe Bell and another one keep pushing other people towards her.
Yeah.
Like, because ideally, if you think about it, if you look back and if you look at the scene, I don't think he would have killed anybody that wasn't attacking him. But anybody that wasn't attacking him, these other two just kept pushing towards him.
Yeah.
She's just like, I wasn't trying to kill everybody, but you know, you keep throwing them at me. Yeah, this movie's got a high body count.
Yes.
And by the way, the cop who shoots at her deserves to die.
Well, wait a minute.
Okay, all right, hang on. So he comes in. There's bodies everywhere. There's one person gouging the eyes out of somebody with another, and then as he opens fire, the attacker picks the person up by their fucking eyeball holes and uses her as a shield as she runs towards them. How the fuck do you have your arm inside those prison bars? No. That's it. That is the price for your stupidity. Death.
Death. You shall be dead.
No. That's the only cop in that. As far as I know, to the best of my knowledge, that's the only cop in that scene that deserves to die. For being that fucking stupid.
Pretty stupid.
Yeah, and then after that, of course, we're still in a police station. So then the cop gets to the station, and we have a big free-for-all with more gunshots, and everybody gets killed, except for a couple cops.
Except for a couple.
Our three main cops survive.
But they get fucked up.
Oh yeah, sliced open and shot and broke
sliced up to the
shit.
point of where they know where Gabriel is going next, and that because the once the mother, the tour guide, which turns out to be their mother, falls through the attic, she's taken to the hospital. So Gabriel is now going to the hospital to kill the last person that he needs to, which is his mother, their mother. So they know that that's where he's going. And the cop, the male cop, what's his name? Kiko Shaw. Kikoa. It's Kekoa.
Oh, all right. You know, I'm sorry. Earlier, I called him Officer Lee. I got the names mixed up. So that was he looks very similar to him. So if you're listening to the previous stuff that I said, I'm full of shit. It's not Officer Lee. It was Kikoa Shaw, which I forgot. It's actually a very unusual name, and I remember it from the film. But talking about it now, I'm an idiot. I forgot.
Where that scene is, it's like, you need to get to the hospital. You need to, because his partner is like worse off, and she's like, I'm gonna be fine, but I can't go. You need to go. Neither one of them show up. Neither one of them show up.
Well, they're both fucked up.
They're both fucked up.
Here.
So I don't know if there's a cut scene or anything, because they go to the trouble to tell you that he's gonna go to the hospital, and he never shows up. I don't know. It could be a cut scene.
It could be, or you know.
Backtrack.
Despite that, see, now I forgot what I was going to say because you kept harping on that.
Well, we're going to the hospital with the mother, the tour guide. He's going to go kill her.
Right. Oh, I wanted to pause briefly and mention my favorite, since we're talking about this part where everything is revealed. You mentioned the fact that she's adopted. Mm-hmm. I love when they find out that the mother's still alive, and when we find out that's who it is, because their mother responds, "Motherfuckers told me she was she was dead." It was such a natural. It's like such a natural, organic response to finding out that you were lied to by an organization. And also let me point out, I got to say, one of the reasons this film succeeds a lot for me is because there is some really competent acting, even though some scenes are supposed to be a bit hammy. Overall, very well performed.
I think so.
You know what? If anything, I'd say my biggest, the only one that I'm like iffy on is the lead actress.
Yeah. She's not good in it. It's
a very hard role.
It is. And she doesn't have dark hair like that. She's I think she's a strawberry blonde or dirty blonde. And she's British too. So I'm trying to look at the other things. Oh, she was in Annabelle, which is James Wan produced, and she was in X-Men First Class, and she was in the terrible remake or reboot of The Mummy with Tom Cruise, which Universal was
I didn't mind that.
Well, no, he got panned
real failed universe.
The monster universe, the Universal monster
universe, yeah.
Universal monsters, and
I thought that would have been cool. I liked it.
It was going to kick off Universal monster universe, and it got panned so bad that they just stopped. They'll probably try it again, but who knows? Silent Night, is that? No. Okay. I thought it was like a Silent Night, Deadly Night, another horror movie, but it's not. It's something totally different.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get that out of the way because I really think I don't think the actors fail in any part of the film. The weakest part of the film, I have two weak parts. Here's the first one. At the end of the whole cop murder montage. Right. When Gabriel like triumphantly climbs on top of the desk and like stands there with the window behind him and then runs out the window. Oh. He does it forward.
Oh, true. But the whole thing.
And I know why they did it. Because you want to see Gabriel in this shot because this is his moment. But we just spent the whole movie watching her close-eyed face on the back of his head while he's doing everything.
Right.
Because that's how the body is. So if we're going to go through all of that backwards, why suddenly turn forwards and do this shot? I think they should have rethought the shot. I'm sorry. Logically, it just sticks in my craw.
I don't disagree. Because if they rethought the shot from that angle and he turned around to run backwards out, it probably wouldn't have looked good. They would have had to change the angle completely.
You should have filmed it from outside. I don't know, anything. But it just
they should have just changed the angle so that it's from his point of view again.
The film universe sets up a logic to the universe that states that whenever this character comes out, they use the body backwards, and then all of a sudden they drop it for no reason at a climactic point just for a good shot. Again, it's a sin. It's a sin, but it's a minor one.
Yeah, it's a little.
I'm not trashing the whole film because of it.
No.
So Gabriel goes to the hospital, makes a cop's pacemaker explode.
My pacemaker!
You remember, she's talking to him, he's like, oh, she's like, what's wrong? I was like, oh, here it comes.
Well, I knew it was a pacemaker because my father has one, and I know, like, when it's bothering him in any way, like, he goes right to that area, and I'm like, that's a pacemaker. He's going to fuck with his pacemaker, and then he did.
Okay, outside of personal experience, though, you know what's happening when he says that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he blows up the cop's pacemaker, starts slashing at Sydney because he's jealous of her because he's the sister and he was, blah, blah, the whole sibling thing.
Yep.
And then goes in the room. He's going to kill Sydney and the mother. But then Sydney drops the bombshell that Gabriel's the reason that Madison was having all those miscarriages.
Right.
The Gabriel was actually feeding off of their nutrients to build strength up, and that's what was killing them.
Yeah, which makes complete sense.
Yeah, I have no problem with that at all. And I have no problem with the dead fetuses. That's fine. We're good. But so then what happens is this spurns her to action to fight back, and then we truly get the sense of this whole. And they revealed like maybe a scene earlier too that what we're dealing with is a kind of it's basically a Fight Club situation.
Right.
And Gabriel is Tyler Durden, and whenever Gabriel goes out, Madison thinks she's like doing the laundry or brushing her teeth or something stupid.
I look how you want to look. I fuck how you want to fuck.
Exactly.
I am everything that you are not.
Yeah. Again, the film reminds you of other films. It's not 100% original, but it is an original concept, and I think they pull it off well. I think that the special effects are fine.
I do too.
Everybody complains about the CGI blood, but you know what? At least we get more blood. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, it's okay. It's
so
a
here's
horror
my other
film.
second.
Okay.
I don't want to step on your toes.
No. I was just tagging on a little to what you said about the CGI blood. That's all.
Oh, why? What?
Oh no, that I was fine with it as well. It's like stop complaining.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah. I mean, sometimes it looks really bad, and sometimes, but in this kind of situation, dude, cut them some slack. They give us so much violence and choreography, and it just. I think the special effects are fine. I don't think there's any problem with them in this film. However,
I was okay with it.
When Madison and Gabriel finally meet in her mind, really, guys, black stage, a prison door. Please tell me this was a reshoot last minute. I haven't done any research on it, but please tell me this was a last minute reshoot, because, I mean, there's so much more that could have been done to make. I mean, I know at that point you're just trying to end the fucking movie, but still, give us something better than that.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm looking at the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think it's little things like that, other little nitpicky things, and they just pile on. And because the critics score is actually quite high for a horror film, and I think it gets to for the critics, they're like, you know what? Yeah, it had all these little things. Yeah, that wasn't perfect, but goddamn, it was a fun little horror movie.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I mean, yeah, and again, I mean, I still say James Wan with that opening sequence is like, is this what you want? Is this no? I didn't think so. All right, we're gonna act like adults now.
Right.
We're gonna watch a real film. And the cinematography is great. Does a lot of sweeping shots, a lot of slow pans in, pans out. Great angles. I mean, he really knows a camera, knows how to use a camera, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
No, this is true.
And that last shot. So after that whole sequence in the brain, she's hugging her sister. Everybody's happy. It's the end. She's going to go to jail for life. But
yeah. Well, what's funny, you're right, because when she's talking to her sister, she's talking like, and it's okay. I have control of him now. And I'm like, yeah, you're getting 25 to life, probably triple, double.
Mm-hmm. He used to padded cells and regular visits to the experimental group.
And when they make sequels for this, because listen, James Wan has produced sequels for the Annabelle films, the Conjuring films, the Insidious movies. There's no way they're not making more of these. There's no way.
Right.
They're absolutely going to make at least 2 more of these.
If they do, I think it'll be interesting, because I don't think. I mean, because they already revealed it. So what else are you going to do with it? I don't think they'll make more of these, because the film is based on the reveal. Which I think is done very well, slowly, deliberately, and they don't wait till the last minute. We get it in the third act.
True.
All right, now let's as soon as we know who Gabriel is, we just let him loose, and he just goes on a fucking rampage. It's beautiful.
Right.
But that last shot where the camera pans back slowly from them hugging on the hospital room floor, and it comes back in the upper right, and on the right hand corner, close in the foreground. Is it a lamp that's turned off?
Oh.
You didn't notice that?
No. Maybe. It's not. It didn't jump out at me. You watched it twice. I don't.
Yeah. Because the minute that lamp comes in the foreground, I'm like watching it. Because why else would you put that lamp in the foreground unless Gabriel was going to like light it up or something?
Right.
And it never does. It goes to black. So I think that's James Wan's way of saying, yeah, there's no fucking sequels. Relax.
This is it. It's done.
It's the one shot. Well, I mean, overall, I can see what people complain. I want to address one complaint I've seen too. Apparently, people have been bringing up the fact that Gabriel's supposed to be a conjoined twin, right?
Right.
Conjoined twins are always Siamese twins. Siamese twins are always the same sex. You cannot have a male and female Siamese twin. So, how would Gabriel and her happen? It's impossible. My first thing would be nothing's impossible, freak of nature, whatever. Second thing, though, you saw all that Gabriel was like an upper rib cage,
right,
and some arms, right?
Right.
Gabriel didn't have a dick.
No, they're sharing the same brain, so.
they're sharing the same brain, and he had no sexual organs. Maybe Gabriel identified as a male.
Oh, that's a really good point.
The prodigal son, you know?
Yeah. It's a really good observation. I like it.
I thank you.
I really do.
I think it's little nitpicky things like that people are using to overlook that this film is actually a fun. I wouldn't say it's genius, but I would say it's very well done.
Yeah.
It had a great concept, and they performed it well.
Yes, I agree. So,
Needle pulling thread.
what should we rate the film then?
The film
So-
is currently at 6.3.
So here on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 76% review score by critics, which is extremely high for a horror film.
Yes,
That's very high for a horror film.
right.
So again, critics probably had some nitpicky things like what we're talking about, but they said overall this is a good horror film. This is a good little film. The audience score, on the other hand, they're a bunch of whiny little bitches. They complain about everything, instant gratification, all that shit. 52%. Now listen,
Well,
there is another film called It Comes at Night, okay, which is basically an art house horror movie, which relies
reviewed
heavily on the art house, very light on the horror. And the trailer, when we talked about it, and I'll mention it again now, really shows it as a completely different film than it actually is. The trailer shows it as a true blue horror film. Now, it's produced by the A24 movie company. A24 is known for doing art house. No matter what you're watching, if you're watching a trailer and it says A24, expect it to never be as quick-paced or however the trailer is presented, because it's A24. It's art house. So, the critic scores for that movie are pretty much the same. Very high on the critic score, super low on the audience score. And I feel that this movie went in the same direction.
Well, yeah, I would say specifically because you get certain films where the reason critics give it higher is not because they're snobs or anything. It's because they understand films. And so when you have a film that's actually using techniques from other films and is doing stuff that's a bit artistic, if you want to say that. But there's a lot of film references in the film, and the film does a lot of things that films do. And these are things that film critics understand that films do, that regular audiences don't, because they're passive viewers. Nothing bad about it. They're just watching for fun. They don't give a shit about understanding anything. They just want it fed to them.
And sometimes you need to understand things, though.
Right. I'm saying that's not a bad thing, as far as like if you can choose whatever entertainment you want. You're watching it to entertain yourself. So it doesn't matter if it's informative or. As
far as the audience score goes, I think whether it be social media, whether it be watching 15 sequels for Freddy and Jason movies and Halloween and all that stuff, they're basically taught to, no, I'm not going to like this. It does all these things that I've been taught not to like, because it's either cheesy or it does this, and I'm just you know what, I'm not going to like it. Even though that's it's a bad way to do it.
Our culture is steeped in a big sense of presentism, where we really are focused on the here and now and don't really want to open up our scope to the past.
Right.
So everything is really what's happening now, what's the newest thing, give me so stuff like that. That looks back to previous films. There's a percentage of the population that's just not going to be into it, because that's not what they're looking for. They're just looking for,
Yeah.
Don't tell me about these last films. Give me the new one. Give me the next one. It's just, again, it's not a bad thing. Just other people look for different things in art.
6.4 on IMDb. I would say that's a little low. I would go a solid 7 on this.
Definitely a 7.
I
wouldn't go higher either.
No, I wouldn't go higher. If you're going into the 8s, you're going into like Mist, the Mist territory. Like the Mist is like an 8 or better.
If you're a horror film, anything above 7, you better be fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Or fucking classic.
Sure.
Only 2. That's it.
Like The Thing, 1982. The Thing, as far as I'm concerned, probably the greatest horror film that's ever been made.
Hands down.
There's
argument.
no way anyone could. I will fight you. I will fight you. So
All right, rated at 7 stars.
perfect.
So here's the big question: what are we watching next week?
Now I think we should do another horror movie because we are in.
Oh, definitely. We're in the Halloween season now. Yes.
So do we want to go something like super new, like A Quiet Place 2 or Don't Breathe 2, or do we want to do something like From the Last Year?
You know
like,
what?
You know what
Since-
horror
since
movie
our-
that I
since our
haven't
big-
seen? I haven't seen yet the Wolf
Hang on.
of Snow Hollow. I haven't seen that yet.
All right, hang on. But you asked me a question. I'm trying to get you the answer
Oh,
there.
sorry.
I feel like since the big concern was we're spending too long in the 70s, let's just spend the month of October doing. I would try to stick to at least the last couple of years.
Okay.
We don't have to, but
No,
let's work from now.
Well, maybe not the
backwards,
last couple. Like let's maybe five
I'm
year.
open. I'm open, but I do want to do some stuff that came out this year. I would like to do at least one film that just came out. I know you've already seen Candyman.
I have seen Candyman. We could do that if you want.
Now we can do 2 films. You've already seen Candyman. Let's do that as one of our films
Okay.
since you've already seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I'm not putting more on you. But let's do a second film as well.
Two movies in the same week, or
Yeah, let's do it like Oscar week, Oscar month.
okay, I could do that.
I think we need to.
Well, you know
I
why?
wanna try to pick things
Because you're going to be at my house in 2 weeks, so we're going to obviously miss 1 week of shows. So to do two episodes in one night it'll fill the gap for the week that we're going to miss.
Who knows? Maybe I'll record while I'm there.
Oh, that would be a treat.
Wouldn't it?
What?
So
That'd be
let's
a
keep
treat.
that in the back of our heads.
All right.
But all right, so Candyman's the first one, and that's a really recent film. So I'm open to your suggestions on what the second horror film should be.
Well, at the top
And
of my
since
head,
you've seen Candyman, it should be a film you haven't seen.
well, I haven't seen The Wolf of Snow Hollow, but I think you have.
I have. So we can do that if you want. I don't. It just means we each have to watch one film. That's not, I don't care. It's a great film. I think you should watch it. So if you want to do that, let's do Candyman and the Wolf of Snow Hollow next week.
Let's do that then.
Perfect.
I've seen one,
Now-
you've seen one, and one of us haven't seen either.
Now I'm still holding you up to the
but-
Halloween challenge, though.
Well, I'm gonna start posting the Halloween movie posters either tonight or first thing tomorrow morning to kick that off.
All right. Tomorrow, October 1st.
I have my list too.
Who watches
That's my-
the most horror films?
That's my list right there
Of what?
of all 31 days. I already have the
Oh.
movies that I've picked, that the poster that I'm going to be putting up on each day, October 1st through the 31st. Got them all.
My goal is a minimum of 2 horror films a day.
Oh, dear God, you already won. You've already won. There's no way I can do that.
My goal was 1 horror film a day last year, and I stopped after like day 12.
Well, here's the thing,
So,
and not to take
panic.
anything away from you. And I'm happy you work from home, but I don't.
I know, and you have 2 kids. Well, you have two little kids. I have 2 grown kids who do my work for me. So yeah, we're totally different situations.
Yeah, so you want to do 2 a day? I'm already forfeiting. You've won. Like you won last year. How many movies did you end up watching? 12, 15, something like that?
I after the first week and a half, I kind of petered out. But yeah, like it was in the teens.
Yeah, I think I know I hit double digits, but I think it was 10. Like I hit 10 horror movies. But it wasn't like you challenged me, and I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this anyway. And I'm like, I'm not going to watch another one. I can't. I got to get up tomorrow morning. I got to go to work.
All right, we'll try to keep it. We'll try to keep it alive, though. All right.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to watch a ton of horror movies in October. I absolutely am. And we're going to watch horror movies when you get here.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's happening. Oh, that's happening.
Oh yeah.
I've got I have 4 TVs in this house. People can go watch shit anywhere they want. You and I are watching horror movies on one of them. If they want to join us, more than welcome.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'm good.
We're good.
Next week, Candyman and
The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
Wolf of Snow Hollow.
Yes. All right, everybody. As always, thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Moviesucktastic, episode 354, where we just reviewed *Malignant*, the James Wan horror film. Go to our website at moviesucktastic.com, and you can listen or download the show there. You can also go to our iTunes, itunes.com/moviesucktastic, I believe, and you can listen or download the show there as well. You can go to our Facebook page at moviesucktastic.com/ moviesucktastic. Oh my God, you're distracted. That was so weird. Facebook.com/moviesucktastic. You can leave us email, themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. We just got an email from Twitter today. I got that notification. The Twitter emailed themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. And I was like, hey, you guys trying to log in? So I emailed Scott, and he's like, yeah, I am. Thankfully, he was, because you don't ever want to get hacked. You could also leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. And you can download the Moviesucktastic app for your Android device. You can go to moviesucktastic.com/mst.apk, or download your favorite podcast player and just do a search for Moviesucktastic. We come right up. Mr. Wilson, do you have any words of wisdom? You're just staring at me. Is the music too loud? I feel like the music's too loud. Here, how's that? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Somebody messed with the volume. I'm going to blame it on my children, even though they don't know where this is. Do you have any words of wisdom?
Time to cut out this cancer.
And with that, oh boy. With that, we will talk to you next week.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Whoa! Here, I got you one.
Ah!
There you go. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.